y'all? Welcome to Timothy Humble Cooking. And as always, all praise, love, and glory, and thanks goes to the Most High God. Now, today, I want to react to this video that God provided for me to even cook. It's called The Dangers of Unrequited Desire. I don't even know what that word means. Diagnosis and the female physique. Look, the title isn't what even got me. It was the fact that it showed the picture of the video was a man who was on the ground worshiping the very ground that the woman stand on. And I was like, this is gonna be fun, you know, some more simp stuff. And I've done videos by this channel before. It's called Phychrypt. So Phychrypt. You know, yeah, that's what it is. You gotta keep my eyes on the road. Ain't no traffic around me, but you know, still gotta be careful. Alright, so we're gonna react. I haven't seen this video yet, but pretty sure it's more people preaching and telling men to stop simping. So let's get into it.
Diogenes proved it 2,400 years ago when he masturbated in the marketplace and said, if only hunger could be satisfied so easily. And using his brutal insights, I can prove it to you within the next 17 minutes of this video.
Whoa, that was a start to the video. I wasn't expecting that. All right, let's keep going.
Why every man who has ever loved a woman has been deceived by the greatest lie ever sold.
Wait.
By the
Incorrect. Again, you can love a woman and take care of her. You just don't need to fall in love with her or catch feelings for her. There's a big difference. I love my woman. I just won't fall in love with her. There's a huge difference between them. Only one I can fall in love with is God.
end of this, you will either walk away broken or unshackled. Imagine a man so free, so untamed, that he lived in a barrel, masturbated in public, and told Alexander the Great to step out of his sunlight. Diogenes of...
Bro, what are these? What is this? Let's keep going. Let's see where this goes.
Sinope was not just a philosopher. He was a predator of delusions. A man who wielded truth like a knife and carved through the lies of civilization. And his greatest target? The illusion of love.
No, his greatest target was choking, you know, his chicken.
Most men never recover from their first heartbreak. They spend years, decades, chasing the ghost of a feeling that was never real to begin with. But Diogenes...
And that's why one of the many things in my life, well, everything in my life, but that's a big one. That's how I've said it multiple times on my channel. Like, I really owe thanks to God, because when he made me, he instilled in me the ability to just take adversity and not only keep my head up through it, but also learn from it and better myself. This video is that was kind of right there. Like, a lot of men, I said in another video, like, some men maybe 7 years later, and they'll still be in love with the same woman that didn't want them, while neglecting the woman that actually put in the work to get with them. 7 years later, you still ain't over this woman. Like, yeah, I fall in love 2 times, but both of those times, at the time, I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. But at the same time, when I finally got over those women, it didn't take long at all. So, let us continue. A lot of men do fall in love with one woman, get their heart broken, and they just proceed to just self-destruct the rest of their life. They have no motivation or anything. Like, some men just won't learn and continue to fall in love with women and get hurt and wonder what happened. And then other men, fall in love with one woman and let that one incident destroy their whole life because they lose motivation. And they just go through the motions the rest of their life over one woman that 9 times out of 10 wasn't even worth it.
He never chased. He never begged.
I agree. Never chase, never beg. 2 things a lot of beta males and simps do.
He never knelt before the altar of a woman's affection.
Same. Never kneel before the altar of a woman or her affection. You kneel before the altar of God.
Because of that, he was the freest man who ever lived. Let me tell you a story.
He was a little too free based on what this man just said. Like, I don't think you should be out there in public doing stuff like that now.
You've never heard. In ancient Athens, a beautiful courtesan named Lais was the obsession of every wealthy man in the city. Kings, generals, poets, they all threw themselves at her feet, offering fortunes for a single...
All those simps trying to worship a woman instead of worshiping God.
...night in her bed. One day, a young philosopher, arrogant and smitten, approached Diogenes and boasted, "Lais looks at me with favor. She smiles when I speak." Diogenes, without looking up from his meal of raw onions, replied, "You poor fool. That smile costs 300 drachmas." The young man stormed off, furious. But a week later, he returned, broken. Lais had drained his coin purse and moved on to a richer man.
Okay, so these aren't your typical simps. These are tricks. There's a difference between tricks and simps. Simps are going to love you and give you their entire heart, whether they have money or not. Tricks are going to love you and give you their whole wallet. Both are just as feminine and as insecure as the other. But at least tricks have money. Well, some of them had money.
Diogenes laughed and said, "The only difference between you and a beggar is that the beggar knows he's being robbed. This is the first lesson. Women do not love like men love. Modern men are taught that love is a mutual exchange. That if you give loyalty, you receive loyalty. If you give devotion, you receive devotion. But history screams the opposite. Consider the story of Heinrich von Kleist, the 19th century poet who worshipped a woman named Henriette Vogel."
Notice he said worship. But I'll be telling beta male simps and tricks. Y'all be worshiping y'all women instead of worshiping God, bro. Y'all be literally treating y'all women like they're literal gods. They smell just as bad as yours.
He wrote her letters, dedicated his life to her, and in the end, she was dying of cancer and asked him to kill her. He did. Then he turned the gun on himself. Her last words, "Thank you. No tears, no regret, just gratitude for his service." This is the female psyche in its rawest form.
This is the not having God or ignoring God all your life for a woman, bro. And in the video I was just talking about, of a man taking himself out, I forgot to bring something up. When you do that, like when you get to the point where you don't want to live anymore and take yourself out, not only is it super disrespectful to God because your body isn't yours and you're just throwing your body away, but it's also super disrespectful to God in the sense that you're telling God that He isn't enough. The woman was the only one that could fulfill you. So, in a sense, you're saying, forget God and everything He's done for you up until there. You just gonna end yourself with the woman because you're so simping into the woman. You get what I'm saying? Like, man, that's what happens when you worship women.
A machine of hypergamy, wired to seek the best possible outcome, even at the cost of a man's life. Diogenes knew this. When asked why he refused to marry, he said, "Marriage is a trap for fools. Why chain yourself to a creature that will always seek a stronger link?"
Was marriage, I know marriage was that bad back in the day, but was it primarily like were most marriages? I know most marriages are foolish today, but I didn't know if most of them were foolish back then. Because back then, men had way more rights in marriages. But he still got a point, though. Like, and you don't have to. One thing men don't understand is you don't have to marry a woman to know if you want to spend the rest of your life with her. Even if she gives you an ultimatum, then that obviously wasn't the woman for you. She obviously just wants the marriage and not you.
Every man remembers his first betrayal. Maybe it was the girl in high school who kissed you behind the bleachers, then laughed when her friends found out. Maybe it was the fiancé who swore eternity, only to leave the moment a wealthier man appeared. The details don't matter. The wound is the same. Here's the truth no one will tell you. Your pain is not an accident. It is a design. In ancient Sparta, boys were taken from their mothers at age 7 and thrown into the wilderness to survive. The weak died. The strong returned as warriors. Why? Because the Spartans knew suffering is the only teacher that matters.
That's one thing about a lot of true followers of God, not everyone, but a lot of them, especially me, our relationships were formed from being humbled by life. By no means was my life easy at all. I've been through a whole lot, and God was there with me the whole time. But it took me so long to finally realize that. I used to get mad and blame God for the stuff I went through. The whole time He was right there, near me, next to me, protecting me from what did want me gone. So a lot of true followers of God have been humbled by life.
Heartbreak is not a tragedy. It is your first and only real lesson in female nature. Diogenes put it best.
It wasn't my only. I fell in love with 2 women. Said I'd never fall in love again. But I always say, look, it's loving a woman, which is as far as a man should go. Then it's catching feelings for a woman, which is kind of dumb. Then it's falling in love with a woman, which is very, very stupid. I fell in love with 2 women and never made that mistake again, but I would go on to catch feelings for plenty more. And it would take me a while to learn that. So, no, it wasn't usually, and a lot of men, it usually ain't just one lesson, too. A lot of men, it takes them a while to learn a lot of this stuff.
A man who cries over a woman is like a dog howling at the moon. The moon does not hear. The moon does not care. But what if I told you there's a way to turn that pain into power? That the very force which crushed you can be weapon.
Yeah, crying over a woman, bro, That is a weak and feminine thing to do. I'm sorry. Bro, you need to be forming a relationship with God and bettering yourself as a man. If you out here still liable to cry over your woman.
Recognized, this is where the weak turn away and the strong begin. There is a moment in every man's life when the veil is torn away. It happens suddenly. A single brutal revelation that shatters the illusion he has clung to since childhood. For some, it comes in the cold silence of an empty bed after she leaves. For others, it arrives in the smirk of a woman who knows she holds all the power. But no matter how it happens, the lesson is always the same. Love is not a contract. It is a game. And you have been playing blindfolded. Diogenes understood this better than any philosopher before or since. While Plato scribbled fantasies about ideal forms and Socrates debated morality, Diogenes lived in a barrel, masturbated in the marketplace, and laughed at men who still believed in fairness.
Bro, like, that ain't a good thing either. Like, yeah, his knowledge was there, but why are you in public, in a barrel, choking your chicken, bro? You could still deal with women, just don't fall in love and get married. And even then, like, bro, why are you in public doing this stuff? At least get you your own place. Like, I get his knowledge, but, like, this man is still a little insane.
He was not cruel. He was not bitter. He was simply awake. And that is what made him dangerous. History remembers the men who transformed agony into strength. Take the Roman general Gaius Marius.
I did that a lot. Most of the stuff I've been through in life, most of the stuff I get on YouTube and preach to y'all is stuff that I had to learn the hard way and turn that into motivation to better myself.
Who, after being betrayed by his own people, exiled and left for dead, clawed his way back to power with nothing but rage as his fuel. Or Nietzsche, who, after being rejected by Lou Salome, plunged into solitude and emerged with Thus Spoke Zarathustra, a book that would redefine philosophy. These men did not collapse under the weight of their suffering. They forged it into a weapon. Diogenes' entire life was a testament to this principle. When pirates captured him and sold him into slavery, he did not weep. He did not beg. He looked at his buyer and said, "You need a master. I'll take the job." The man was so stunned by his audacity that he made Diogenes tutor his sons. This is the first law of emotional alchemy. Your pain is currency. Spend it wisely. Most men waste theirs. They drown in self-pity, replaying memories of her touch, her laugh, the way she looked at them before she walked away. They obsess over questions with no answers.
Bro, and it's so crazy because y'all be obsessing over a woman's touch, her laugh, her beauty. And it's like literally millions of other women have the exact same thing.
Why wasn't I enough? What does he have that I don't?
Yep, typical simp things, bro. What do you mean? Of course he wasn't enough because you tried to play the feminine in your feelings chasing role and chase the masculine woman, and you put yourself in the wrong position where you should have been working on your relationship with God and yourself and working on your masculinity and learning how to love and deal with women that actually chase you, deal with women that are actually in a woman's role rather than forcing yourself in a woman's role and forcing yourself to deal with a woman in a man's role. Because the women don't know how to respond to power and being masculine. So they're going to dog most of y'all out, treat y'all like absolute and not give two damns at the end of the day. What I tell you, the video I did last before this, where it may or may not be posted before this, was of a man offing himself. And I said, at least in this video, this woman took remorse for that. And she went through a whole lot because of what she did. A lot of women, most I actually hear about in these stories, they don't care when they cause men to off themselves. That's how selfish women can be, especially if you put them in a masculine role.
Diogenes would have laughed at them. When a heartbroken young man asked him how to forget a woman, Diogenes handed him a rotten.
I'll hand him a Bible and be like, pray to God, get a relationship with God, get on His Word. Now I'm gonna show him all these different verses where it tells you don't waste your time on women, those who destroy kingdoms. And tell him not to ever fall in love with a woman again. And if he needs to get over her, well, shoot, there's plenty of beautiful women in this world. But get a relationship with God. So when you find one and try to, have fun with one to get over the one you fell in love with, God is going to help you with discernment, and He'll help you be able to navigate if you should mess with that woman or not. Because not every woman is just genuinely out here looking for fun. Not all beautiful women out here that's having fun are genuine people. Some of them are being used by some demonic forces. So y'all need to get close to God.
The fish and said, "Carry this through the market." Confused, the man obeyed. By the time he returned, the stench was unbearable. "Now throw it away," Diogenes commanded. The man did. "Do you miss it?" Diogenes asked. "Of course not," the man replied. Diogenes smiled. "Then why do you miss her?"
Hey, he cooking right there. I'm not saying women are worth dead fish, but I mean, bro, if you think about it, there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's plenty of women in this world. So, if a dead fish, if you can find a dead fish, live fish, dead fish, anywhere, everywhere, then you can find a beautiful woman. So why are you bothered and heartbroken over this one woman?
Women have known the truth for centuries. They are the original strategists, the architects of emotional warfare.
They really do know a lot of the truth. They just don't care.
While men were busy building empires, women were mastering the art of influence, not through force,
The art of narcissism.
but through illusion. Consider the story of Catherine the Great, who seduced and deposed her own husband to seize the Russian throne. Or Cleopatra, who wrapped Julius Caesar and Mark Antony around her finger, not with beauty alone, but with calculated displays of vulnerability and...
That's what happens when men are weak. I heard about the story of it's some real high-ranking general that was next to, the guy whose name starts with an H, the German, that kind of started World War II. He was a high-ranking general by that guy, and he was in charge over like a concentration camp at one point. And he had a woman, he married a woman that dressed like a whole dot. So she obviously belonged to the streets. And what she used to do, because she was just as wicked as him, they both were horrible people. But what she used to do, because she knew how weak and feminine her man was that she wasn't into, she would go around dressed like a dot intentionally to get the Jews to look at her, and then the guy would literally off any Jew that did it. Like, and in the end, he was offed himself because he got led with his heart instead of his brain. So he did something dumb. I forgot what happened, but his wife ended up betraying him and getting him off too. Yeah, I forgot. I gotta look that one up, but I'm gonna look that one up and look at it and actually do a video on that too.
Power. These women were not evil. They were simply playing the game at its highest level. Diogenes saw through the charade.
And that's what I kind of say about women. Like, sometimes I do, some of them I want to say they are, but in general, they really not. Women are just really following their nature. A lot of women, the further away they get from God and femininity, the more masculine that they become, the more selfish they will be. And the more selfish and masculine they are, they understand that if they use their beauty and their narcissistic ways and they lie, they know that they're going to control weak men easily. And they just take advantage of that. So, you know, I ain't really calling women out for what they do. Really, a lot of them just honestly just follow their nature. Women have learned over thousands of years now that a lot of men are just weak. And nowadays, it's even worse.
When a famous courtesan bragged that she could make any man fall in love with her, he challenged her, "Then make me." She tried. She flattered him, touched him, whispered promises in his ear.
See, that's a woman who every man she ran into was a beta male simp or a trick. She ain't ever run into a true masculine or God-fearing masculine man. I say, you know, if you like God, you can have masculinity, but you're not a true masculine man. I'm not sure about this guy right here. I don't know much about him other than this story. But, yeah, a woman like that would have ran into me. Bro, I'm not gonna fall in love with you. I probably would have. Depending on what God told me, I probably would have just clapped the cheeks and moved on, bro. I'm not about to fall in love with you. I don't care how beautiful you is. I don't care how many men you got wrapped around your finger. Not me. Humbly, I'm him.
Diogenes yawned. Finally, she stripped naked in front of him. He didn't even look up from his bowl of lentils.
I mean, you may have my blood flowing a little bit, but that doesn't mean I'm in love. And even in that case, I'm still not gonna pay you or pay you anything for it. Like, yeah, you know, if God okays it, yeah, I'll clap some cheeks, but that doesn't mean I'm in love, love.
Your body is your weapon, he told her, but I am not your target. This is the second law. You cannot be manipulated.
That's what she went around and found out, like, oh man, not every man is weak. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. This video is getting long enough. I'll make a part 2 right now.